Need tools? We've got you covered. Go to ChromebookParts.com or click on the link below to pick up this sleek, portable toolkit. Flip the unit over and remove 11 6mm screws and one 4.5mm screw that's underneath the rubber foot. To remove the rubber foot, just gently insert the metal spudger and pry it free. Gently insert the opener pick between the bottom cover and the palm rest, and slide along the edges to pop the bottom cover free. Push back the locking clip and gently pull up to unplug the battery from the motherboard. Remove 4 2.5mm screws from the motherboard and 3 4mm screws from the hinge. Peel back the tape and unplug the LCD cable from the motherboard. Flip open the locking clip and unplug the palm rest cable from the motherboard. Flip open the locking clip and unplug the touchpad cable from the motherboard. Flip open the locking clips and unplug the daughterboard cables from the motherboard. Peel back the tape and gently lift up to pop the Wi-Fi cables free from the motherboard. Unplug the speaker cable from the motherboard. Lift up the hinge and gently lift up and pull back on the motherboard, taking care not to bend or damage the ports. Remove 2 2mm screws from the heatsink. Remove the heatsink and use a 99% isopropyl alcohol solution to clean the contact points on the heatsink and the motherboard. Apply a dab of thermal paste to the motherboard contact point and replace the heatsink. Replace the 2 2mm screws into the heatsink. Lift up the hinge. Replace the motherboard gently back into its slots. And make sure to get all the cables out from underneath. Lower the hinge, and replace the 4 2.5mm screws in the motherboard and 3 4mm screws into the hinge. Using the metal spudger, gently push down on the Wi-Fi cables to plug them back into the motherboard, and reseat them back into their grooves. Plug the daughterboard cables back into the motherboard. Plug the touchpad cable back into the motherboard. Plug the palm rest cable back into the motherboard. Plug the speaker cable back into the motherboard. And plug the LCD cable back into the motherboard. Plug the battery back into the motherboard and push the locking mechanism closed. Replace the bottom cover and push down to snap it back into place. Replace the 11 6mm screws and the 1 4.5mm screw which goes under the rubber foot.